champion we're just kind of waiting for him to play here. So, you know, it wouldn't be too much of a surprise if BLG elect to lock in this Jarvan. Shun has been so good as a whole, has been pretty darn good on this Jarvan as well.
With the Lucian and the Ezreal already banned away, this puts a lot of priority on that Corki Yanara if we do see the Jarvan slammed immediately, as we do.
Ash Seraphine is open too.
That is on the table, 100%, and something you'd absolutely love to pair with the Jarvan. So now it's quite the important question for NIP, because if you pick Ash Seraphine, you're playing it into a champion that punishes immobiles. But if you let them have it, Jarvan works incredibly well with the Encore. So a bit of a catch-22 set up from BLG in the draft right now. Where does NIP want to shape it? Milio's on the table, but with Lucian banned, not exactly the best thing you want to be doing into Seraphine.
Yeah, if I'm NIP, I think you gotta slam it here, because Zin's on the table too. So you can just pick up the Zin for the final part of the first half of the draft. And you've got this Triumvirate that has been so good throughout 2026. I think that if you're drafting Ash Seraphine Zin, you have as good a shot as any of winning a game.
Now it's going to be all up in the air for where BLG want to go. As far as counters to this bot lane have come up, we've seen Jhin Nautilus be something that has picked up a few times, but in all honesty, beyond the Bard itself as a champion, there hasn't been a massive amount of consensus. Bard Caitlyn was being talked about a little bit last series as one of those answers that we've been seeing. We'll have to see if that's the option that BLG want to go with, or if they're going to give potentially a Bard Xayah and just say, Viper, you exist in hell, I'm going to go off and get something else done.
There's that Caitlyn hover that you were just talking about a moment ago. Incredibly potent with the Bard. If you can land a stun, you can drop a trap down and get a kill. But it looks like Jhin is going to be the call here, so they are going to put Viper in the back seat a little bit here. Somebody's got to be in the backseat, right? When you've got Bin Knight and Viper, I think that you can be pretty confident to put your AD carry on a champion like this and be like, all right, well, our solo laners will go ahead and take care of the rest. Still waiting for a go button out of NIP. We have a couple of good tools in the Ashe ultimate and the Seraphine ultimate, but NIP really works best when you've got Guwon on engage. We're going to see the Gnar locked in to end the first half of the draft.
That's very interesting. It is one of the safest or most common blind picks on the patch right now, and it is something that Bin often finds himself picking up in this position in the draft right now. So, taking away the Vayne, curious to see what else we're going to be pairing this with. The Jace is probably the next ban from NIP, I would hazard a guess. But at the end of the day, when we look over to what Bin could pick up, he could just slam the Renekton, but this team is lacking some magic damage right now for BLG, and with the Rumble off the table, Gwen starts to be something you're thinking about. I don't know exactly if the Gnar is going to hate playing against Gwen, or if it's just going to be a bit of a bully in the early lane and then annoyance in the side lane. So we'll just have to see how it shakes out with BLG focusing away some of those AD junglers. The Vi was hovered. It is something that works incredibly well with the Encore, because you lock them down and then it's free CC. It would put you into a pretty heavy pick comp for NIP though, so let's see if that's the direction that BLG want them going in.
Interesting note is that Mel has not been banned yet. So NIP electing to focus out Bin, which does mean that Knight can play this Mel. We did see Knight on the Mel earlier have a phenomenal game. I think he went like 12-0-8 or something like that. That rebuttal is such a strong tool against Ash Seraphine. You know, as long as NIP time it right, you could try to catch him with the Ash ultimate, and that allows the Seraphine ultimate to come through. But if you don't, you have to be so careful, because a reverse encore is gonna lose you a game.
Absolutely, and I have to expect that this is going to be a jungle pickup here, regardless of what they opt for. There we go, because we were just talking about before the series that it is so much prio for both of these teams on getting mid lane last pick. And when you are on the last pick blue side, in this case for NIP, it's something that now Knight does have to show what he's going to go for. The Bard, a pretty good answer already into the Vi. You can chuck your Tempered Fate onto somebody before they get knocked away. And as far as AP damage sources go, I know we're not meant to talk too much about hovers, but I wouldn't mind a Kennen here. It's definitely not that bad considering NIP's top side already want to run into you.
That's going to be an Aurora lock-in. Jury's still out to see where it's going to go. The good news is, Melvin, we will find out momentarily here as... Okay. That, however, doesn't help anything.
No.
So
but,
we'll see what do you think are some of the options that you could play top lane here for Bin?
I mean, I honestly, I hadn't thought about the Kennen until seeing it. I also wouldn't mind a Gragas here if you wanted a bit more frontline. The Yorick is whatever. Nar can always jump out of the cage, but it is really difficult for him to out DPS the Yorick, so it's kind of a fine, whatever. Bin will be a nuisance in the side lane, but it should be okay for Hoya to exist in the lane, particularly against Jarvan and the Yorick, though. It is doubly annoying for the immobile bot lane, and really does disincentivize picking an immobile control mage mid to punish this Aurora. So let's see where Care wants to opt towards. I mean, there are things like the Annie if you wanted to be utility carry. It's the Ahri. It kind of always was going to be the Ahri for Care, thinking about it. It's something he loves to pick up. It is the classic pairing with the Vi, so a very, very standard comp from NIP. Arguably as standard as it gets. Maybe you chuck a Renekton up there and it's like, yep, this is the comp of 2026 thus far.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's perfect. You know, 10 out of 10, 0 notes, right? And they spike really hard on 2 items. They spike really hard at level 6. For all of these champions, NIP are going to want to fight around every single objective once everybody's level 6. Conversely, on the side of BLG, I've got some issues with this, right? Because we're not kind of sure what priority you're going to be able to get out of the top lane. The mid lane could go either way, and if you're not getting that lane push, it's going to be hard for Shun to go and invade a champion like Vi, who is susceptible to invades. And I don't think this bot lane gives you that much juice in terms of power. There's certainly a lot of pick here, Melvin, but I am worried. I think that NIP's comp is just stronger, has more raw power.
I would definitely say it's weird despite how standardized it looks, but I would say they've definitely got the ease of execution on their side. BLG have a few more tools of variety, as Bard kind of just immediately gives you that advantage. So BLG, in theory, have a lot of good ways to stall out a fight and then collapse to stop NIP getting that initial pick. If they can execute on that, which, as the current best team in the world, they probably can, then it is going to become difficult for NIP. If you have Vi ulting in on a target, suddenly they get Zhonya's at level 6, and then your Vi is just standing in the middle of the enemy team getting killed. There is always angles for BLG.
There's always angles for BLG. Couldn't agree more, no matter what the comp is. We're on Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of the final best of 3 series of the day. Between NIP and BLG.
And as we kick off, this is already a good sign for Guwon. I was about to say because he is not being killed level 1, but he is being invaded still. This does give open information. Shun really taking what Tarzan did to heart and saying, alright, yeah, this guy really did struggle after we invade level 1. Admittedly, not as much chaos this time around, as BLG get off to a really heavy trade bot side.
Yeah, it's really tough, too, because Vi is one of these champions that you need to have strong laners to protect, right? And you've got Ashe Seraphine, which is an incredibly potent lane, and the protection comes out of that on the bot side. Well, if you cut out the bottom side, right, you have to do things like this, where you're invading the enemy and walking over a ward, which is inherently more dangerous for Vi.
And this part is really sketchy for NIP. If they can't crash this wave right here, they're going to get zoned off of so much XP because of Jarvan threat. Or they could just die at the end of the day if they're not going to, but it looks like they get pushed in enough that they're able to back away and avoid Shun going in. Good little hawk shot to come out, but does spot them turning around at the last second. This is where it gets awkward for NIP. They just have to stay outside, or in XP range, but outside of engage range.
Yeah, they're able to walk up a little bit here, and Shun can't spend all this time because he does have to go clear his own jungle. So, you know, solid early pathing from the BLG jungler to try to throw off Assum and Zhuo, and they're able to stick with it for the moment. They're healed up just a little bit. They still have the heal in the back pocket, too.
And as far as it goes, with both red sides getting reset about the same time, it will give Guwon a window to look at Bin up here. It is a Vi level 3.
Let's see if you can predict a flash here. No flash needed. The Dark Procession is down. Bin flashes, but Hoya will hop on top of him and will be able to take him out with the help of Guwon in his first blood to the NIP jungle.
The double 3-hit passive, enough damage to tear through Bin. And at the end of the day, this is kind of what we expected from Hoya in isolation of being able to get this early lead with the facilitation from Guwon even better. Kind of punishing the split map from BLG by getting a bit of acceleration up there. What are we getting in the replay? Was there a kill? No, okay.
Oh, no. I was talking about the miss of the double root. He did get the flash out of Viper, but had that beat drop landed, that would have been a kill.
At very least would have forced the cleanse as well, which I mean, you're going to be tagging over to level 6 around about when the cleanse goes down, so if you can burn this cooldown in like the next 2 minutes, then you're in really good spot to force Viper to play mega defensive for the next 5.
Guwon attacking Shun just to protect his chickens. Now Shun is a level up on Guwon for the moment. Anna's going to show up to the party as well. Meanwhile, Care, little low on HP, little low on mana. So is Knight. Knight's trying to stick around, but he's going to go after Knight. What a prediction by Care, but he's not able to finish the job. Meanwhile, the chickens under siege here. Guwon really wants to get in here. Does manage to hit level 4. Zhuo is on the way. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana. The beat drop just for the slow as we're going to go after on. Teleport's going to be coming in from Knight. Care, again, does not have the mana. He did not recall. It looks like there'll be no more fighting for the moment.
And I think this is Guwon getting rewarded from not going back to clear his top side, but instead coming out to contest those Raptors. Securing those will give him the opportunity now to just continue full clear, which is kind of what Vi wants to be doing, especially now having a flashless mid laner. As soon as Guwon tags over to level 6, expect to see that ultimate coming down either mid or bottom lane. And honestly, with Bin not having flash, kind of just NIP's map to play with. It's all about how they want to go about it. There is flexible options everywhere as Guwon is lurking up here for a lane gank.
I love it. Just a matter of being able to sneak in there, and it looks like he is in. Hoya looking for as much positioning as he can get for the moment. Guwon being a bit of an alcove gamer. Bin is aware that something is a bit amiss here.
Don't have vision in anywhere that would indicate where Guwon is, but with that red ward timing out next to the Raptor pit, they know that Guwon didn't clear topside and immediately path back into his bot camps. So, as stated, Bin taking the safer route with the dragon now up. It is a Chemtech, which is the hardest dragon to solo out in the game. So I don't expect either Vi or Jarvan to be trying to sneak that while both bottom lanes are here. Does mean now, if we take a look over at that XP, Shun just bumping over to level 5, Guwon joining him, does mean that there will be a bit of extra time here for both junglers to kind of lurk and not have much to do with just bot prio here for NIP.
Keep in mind, Kara is also level 6, so if he can get a little bit of a shovel on Knight, he will be able to move around and get that spirit rush in to try to help out the rest of his NIP squad. The Scuttle Crab has spawned on the top side of the map, so neither of these junglers are going to hit level 6 on this little skirmish here. There are a couple
think the
big boards in
notion's there. The double control ward might have given it away. Bit of miscoordination between them.
Absolutely, positively has to be cleared.
You will not be allowed to ward this bush. I may tell you where I am, says Shun, but you are not allowed to ward this bush. Taking control of that area will at least buy some breathing room for this BLG bot lane. With On being level 3, it is quite difficult to put up any meaningful defense against them. Does have the spellbook that's ticked over, got the exhaust in pocket, an area that they can look to make some plays. However, I do get a bit scared that if On oversteps, he just kind of dies immediately to anybody right now.
Guwon finishing up the crab, but is just short of level 6. Shun shows up to the party. Both junglers at level 5 for the moment. There's an Ashe ult that lands flush right on top of Shun, and they will take him down. It is a second kill for Guwon.
That was beautiful. That was just beautiful from the entire NIP squad to set that up and knock it down all in one fell swoop. As they continue to keep this push on the bottom lane. There is a reason that Ashe Seraphine is the deadly duo of the current patch, and it is enabling NIP to turn this mid kill into a Chemtech Dragon, which when you already have a Seraphine isn't bad to have just one.
That's what I call a deadliest catch there, Melvin. Really nice play there from
Damn, that's
Assum.
Foreshadowing. Yes!
From
Love
Assum
it.
from downtown. We'll see if we're able to get a little bit more, and it's just as simple as getting off vision and hoping that your arrow strikes true, and right as you flag and drag in and can't move, typically you're not going to survive through a lot of those.
I mean, craziest part about that arrow to me was if it didn't hit Shun, it was going to hit Knight. So somebody was getting stunned and killed off the back of that. As Hoya taking a heavy trade.
Yeah, he shoved Bin in. He'll force Bin's flash. Hoya getting the better end of this trade for the time being. Groves have spawned up on the top side. Guwon is showing up here, walking over a ward as well, and it looks like the play might be on to Bin. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, between worlds coming down, good charm is out, but Kara is exhausted, is caught in the cage, and On is here to ensure that the kill goes over to BLG. Meanwhile, top side, Guwon drops the ultimate down and finds his third of the game.
I was quite doubtful that Guwon was going to have enough damage to get through Bin there with the Maiden in pocket, but only just picking up those plated steel caps now on the recall does mean it was a bit close. He was exactly in tower range. If there was even a sliver bit more HP on Bin, it gets really awkward for the NIP jungler. But once again, this early game power, Guwon knows how to convert it. If you play a standard early game where NIP gets pushing lanes, we're seeing why this team is up here on the standings. It is not a fluke. They have got a consistent plan that they execute on very, very well.
Zhuo gets engaged on here. Beat drop just for the slow onto Shun. He's walking down, trying to get to his AD carry, and Crystal Arrow is up, but he gets rooted by Viper. Knight's trying to come through as well. Curtain call spells curtains for Zhuo as Knight picks up kill number 2 of the game.
One of those instances there where I think using the heal was a bit ambitious, especially knowing that you didn't have to push prio in bot, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It does mean now that Guwon has to cede this red buff. I think contesting it is a bit sketchy here.
Yep, you want to stem the bleeding as best as possible as the most consistent player in the LPL, currently 2-0 right now on that Aurora. Had some questions about its relative effectiveness. You know, it brings a lot of damage. So far, so good for the BLG mid laner, who has completed his run.
I placed an under-over with some friends in a conversation last night of whether it's going to be more or less than 4 rocket belts in our series today. Where do you stand on this?
Betting talk on my broadcast? That's crazy.
No, not an actual bet, just conversational.
I think I'm going to say over because honestly, I really like NIP's comp, and I think we could go 3 games. Obviously, it's still very early. And, you know, BLG can always take over a game at any time. As the charm goes down onto Knight, here comes Guwon as well. Shun here to cover. Flash, flag, and drag gets it done. And Guwon quickly finds himself in a 2v1. And you are not winning that one, my friend. It is another one going over to Knight. He's got 4.
Mr. Consistent in the mid lane and the jungler to boot. BLG get it done and keep this game in a very handy contest position at this point. Knight going to be doing so much damage with 8 stacks on the Dark Seal on, having to cleanse away. Won't get encored though.
Oh, that's tough. Whenever this Enchanted Crystal Arrow and Encore are on cooldown, you really got to convert a kill out of it. Let's take a look at this replay here, Melvin. Not looking too bad to start things off, but Shun's timers are just so good.
Oh my. The fact that he lingers out of vision for just a second there gives NIP the kind of iffy case of, wait, yeah, I think we can commit to this. And it is exactly in those moments where we see why BLG are so good. They take these small skirmishes exquisitely. They know exactly what their windows are and exactly how much damage they're going to be able to do in these scraps. And the fact that currently we haven't had anything from the NIP bot lane to really get that domination in the lane. That arrow onto mid was excellent and did secure a kill, but the Bar Jin is doing a very good job so far of just eating that pressure and losing the minimum.
Yeah, these guys have been level 6 for a while, and we saw the Enchanted Crystal Arrow come down, but we haven't really seen a true Vi-Ari combo. We have 20 seconds until this dragon is up. Some cooldowns are going to be coming off here for these ultimates. As Guwon with a really nice buffer here. Ultimate from Bart goes wide. Knight does a lot of damage. Kare's trying to slide in, make something happen. The charm goes down, and they're going to be able to find Shun, but the Between Worlds was there. Teleport coming in from this York as Guwon is very low. First shot misses, second shot misses, third shot is caught by Assum, but the fourth shot rings true as Assum can't finish out the kill on to these guys. Looking for Bin, but he's caught in the cage. He'll flash forward, find the kill. On could be the next target, but Assum is slowed up and taken down as BLG win another fight. Knight gets another double kill.
A 10-man team fight at 12 minutes is not exactly what you would expect coming into a normal game, but it is no normal game with NIP and BLG. And the dragon is just left there because both junglers were taken out in the middle of that fight. As we get to see how it started, it was just an initial pick, but the thing is, it's a bard against this wall. you can only commit so far because he can chuck down the magical journey at any time. So BLG are kind of playing with full confidence here, knowing worst case scenario, we're going to portal out and it'll be okay. But they just hold the fight, hold the fight, hold the fight. And Bin gets a really good TP this time, showing up as NIP were in that same level of like, wait, are we committing to this fight? I guess we are. Hoya's coming. And it just gets run over from there.
Dragon is up. Zhuo has to flash away.
Guwon's in the pit.
Guwon in the back of the pit. He will exit, and BLG will secure the dragon. And Melvin, I have a big problem with the way that fight worked out because I don't think NIP should have pulled the trigger. Assum and Zhuo, their ultimates were not up for that fight. You need to fight around your Ashe Seraphine.
Not just that, like, at the end of the day, you're fighting a Bard in exactly the terrain he wants to be fought. Like, you were only ever going to get what BLG let you get in that situation.
Care's in trouble. Flag and drag over the wall. Arrow lands onto On. Doesn't have many places to go. Charm goes down along with that Encore, and they will find the pick onto Shun. Meanwhile, Assum gets tagged up, goes golden from that Tempered Fate, and On should be able to escape.
Very portentous of you there. We see Ashe Seraphine in a fight with their ultimates, and suddenly it goes well for NIP. It is a plan that works. Yeah, I don't know how you could ever have seen that coming. Crazy work. Very nicely done. And hopefully
I do
NIP
a little
stick
bit
to
of color commentary. I put on my analyst hat sometimes.
Excellent.
Team
done.
fight. No team fight ultimates. Don't team fight. Team fight ultimates. Team fight.
You know, the NIP comp really is that cut and dry, and so we need to see if they can stick to that, or if BLG could continue to just put the mousetrap out there and give enough bait for NIP to go in, because that's what it felt like with that air quote pick we had earlier.
Really nice magical journey is going to force the flash out of Care even after he landed the charm. Who is 2 levels down tonight, by the way, who has nearly a 3,000 gold lead at this point. He has really popped off on the Aurora this game.
Blitzing towards that Shadow Flame, and once you have that, this Aurora is going to do ridiculous damage. She already does a lot of damage, but I'm talking about R is going to get pressed, and 3 people are getting half-barred immediately. Like, it is going to be nuts. We do have TP flank here.
Yep, and this is really just for the Herald fight. Herald is up now. We're going to hit the blast plane over the wall. Guwon's going to be caught. He's forced to flash away. He's down below half HP. They're not able to slow up Knight. They're really trying to chase this guy down, and they will be able to do so. It is Shun picking up the kill, and the Herald should go to BLG. Hoya is in Mega. Perhaps we will see a fight start here. On getting chipped down.
Yeah, I don't like NIP going for this. I hope we get a replay to see why Guwon was over there in the first place, because it was definitely sketchy.
Oh my goodness! In the blink of an eye, Zhuo is gone. Assum has been slowed up. Look at how fast Knight is! He goes between worlds and sends Assum to the next one.
Oh my goodness, how are you supposed to play as a mobile carries into this? It's not even the champion I thought was going to be most threatening as Care, forced to TP to safety with how terrifying this rabbit is coming to get you.
Yeah, that's Bonicula right there, my friend. You know, this rabbit is going to cause some problems in this game at 8-0-3 at level 13 at 16 minutes. Listen, top lane quests are completed. They're getting the increased experience, and even Hoya can't catch up to Knight.
Knight is effectively the gold lead between the teams right now. With a little bit of change in BLG's pocket off the back of it, Knight is the gold lead. And it means that NIP, as a pick comp, does still have the angle to play. Because if you send all of your pick tools onto Knight, suddenly it's equal.
Sometimes you just send them all onto On. He took the magical journey. He's not dead yet, but Assum will be able to finish him off with the last shot of that Ranger's Focus-empowered auto attack. Now NIP are going to look to siege in the mid lane here, but they don't have any tools to be able to do so.
Do not walk up there. You don't know where Knight is, and not anything that you want. You basically can't act if Knight is in Fog of War, because he can truly just jump out and blow you up from anywhere. This is a really nice pick from NIP at the end of it to actually get something done. Oh no, this is the replay beforehand where Zhuo gets got. Never mind. This is the opposite. Yeah, no, cover your eyes, NIP fans.
That is disgusting. Sometimes you are a support and you are like, what happened in my middle? Oh, Knight.
Okay, what?
I don't know, man. I don't know if Hoya wants a piece of this.
Michael Myers is outside my bush.
Guwon wants a piece of this. He gets knocked up. He's dead. You knew they were there. You can't do this. Zhuo gets rooted up. It's another double kill for Knight. Color me shocked. Odds in a little bit of trouble. Knight taking the magical journey over. On is dead, but more burst damage is coming out. First shot misses, but Knight gets charmed. Viper cleans up the rest, and the fourth shot with Knight's damage on top of it means Care is sent back to the base.
NIP, you have an easy bait comp. Get the hell out of the kitchen and put it in the microwave. It's not that complicated. What are we doing going for random picks in the jungle without your Ashe nearby? I just simply don't know what they're doing. They're getting just completely frazzled by whatever BLG is throwing at them at this point. And while the game looks pretty cooked at this point, I don't think it's done. Like, a 5k gold lead is very big, but again, you have the tools to recover it. Yes, like this!
There we go! That's all you need! It's a big shutdown going over to Assum, a full 1,000 gold. But the Dragon is very low, 1,600 HP. Vi is gonna go in, but the Jarvan is gonna be able to finish off the smite. Shun locked up, and they will throw away the key. He almost escapes, but cannot do so. Assum with 2 kills in his back pocket here, and the siege is on in the mid lane.
I was just saying, look, 5k isn't that scary. It's 3.3 all of a sudden. It's a bad state to be in for NIP, but if you just play to your strengths and play around Assum, there's a reason we were talking about him so much in the pregame. Get him involved in these plays.
15 kills to 10 before 20 minutes. This is an LPL game if I've ever seen one. Melvin Knight at 10-1-5 still has a shutdown on his name right now. The most kills in a single game for this split is 13 set by Knight. And it looks like he might be breaking that, but greeted a little too close to the sun, was on a ward, and he had no idea.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely caught in the hat, and he is taken out of it and delivered to Assum's pocket for a nice bit of change, as we do have, at this point, Baron on the table, just spawned. There is the potential for both of these teams to do it in pretty reasonable time between the Vi and the Null, pretty decent damage. The Yorick also loves taking Baron, so we do have to keep our vision control for both of these teams over there, especially with the Dragon up for 3.5 minutes. It is an area where the game can kind of get blown open by that, as the wave clear for both of these teams is fine, but gives windows for the enemy to make picks if you do use it on the wave.
And this is going to be the part of the game where Bin really starts becoming relevant again. 0-3-3, they've sufficiently shut him down, but he's got a gold lead, and you know, the split push power that Yorick puts out is something that is very hard for many champions to contend with. I mean, he is a level up on Hoya, half a level, we'll call it. Herald got used in the mid lane here, and now BLG is going to move all the way down. Guwon is trying to cover for his top laner, but he needs to cover for himself. Will flash away, and the chase is there. It's going to come down, so as the Encore lands on the two, but nobody else is here. They throw everything they can at Night, and they will find him again. On will fall too. Curtain Call is here, looking for Hoya. Big damage, and that fourth shot will take him out. Assum's not at this fight yet. He needs to get there. Care's got one more ultimate. He looks for Bin, but Bin will flash away. Assum now starting to join the fight, but Care and Zhuo are a little low. Fourth shot is down. Zhuo dodges out on the route, but Viper is split from the team, and they need to go pick him up somehow, though he will be able to group up with Shun and Bin. And when the dust settles, it's a 2-for-2.
With shutdowns considered, I think that NIP is going to come out on top of that one, but we need to make sure we keep an eye on summoners now. With Bin not having that flash, it does make him very susceptible as a pick in the side lane to take and then rotate into an objective after, as that was a sweat play. Like, that did have me very scared for both teams there. It looked like it could go either way, as Knight lingering up here with a TP. This could be potentially the Baron sneak, if that is the way BLG want to play this. Bin has the teleport.
They're just playing full court press on Guwon. You know, a guy that really requires this priority to go and make plays and be the engage tool for NIP is really being set behind now, losing this entire jungle quadrant up on the top side. Going to be littered with some vision here for BLG. They're like really hard for the NIP jungle.
I'm just kind of paying attention to the bottom left of the screen right now, because both bot laners for NIP have about 40 magic resist. Top lane has 91. I'm waiting to see when we pan over, because Guwon cannot have much more than 50-60 at this point, I would imagine. And with how tanky you are compared to everybody else on your team, cool, but when Knight looks at you, you still disintegrate. Like, it is just immediate death. And the fact that Knight has been sat on this Needless for a little while, has the option to convert into the Zhonyas whenever. But honestly, if he's not getting to use his Zhonyas in the near future, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Knight just complete into a Rabadon's in the near future.
Yeah, he always could pivot that way if he wants to. Carrot just finished up his second item recently. We were talking about how well NIP spikes on these two items, but when it comes in so late, the late 22-minute mark, the 23-minute mark, especially when you've got this Vi-Ahri combo, it does wane in effectiveness. Assum is on 3 items, but has not hit that infinity edge yet, so it doesn't quite have that extra bit of oomph. It's 2 dragons to 1, with the next one up in 15 seconds. So BLG, go and take this one. They'll put themselves on soul point. That will put NIP in a precarious position.
And it's Hex Tech, which is basically the win the game soul. Okay.
Good
That's
effort.
barely dodged. Bin, again, still no flash. This is an angle if NIP want to try and force it, but he is not that squishy at the end of the day, and so it looks like they are just going to seed the dragon.
Will got the red buff. Not sure if it's really going to matter all too much. As you mentioned, the dragon will be secured for BLG. That puts them on soul point, so NIP, over the next 5 minutes, are going to have to really buckle down, get as much farm as they can onto Assum, and hope that the 4-item Ashe can get the job done. This is a champion that, as you get to the later stages, becomes a literal machine gun out of the AD carry role. And now they're looking to make a big play onto Bin here. Shun is here to sniff this one out, but he might be just a little bit too late. They're going to go on top of Bin. Shun will leave his top laner to die, and the kill is given over to Assum.
Very happy of that if you're an IP at the end of the day. You pan over to top lane, and because of the work that had already been done by BLG, there is nothing to defend. So you have an excellent window to go for this pick. Shun was about and sniffing it, but at the end of the day, when you send 4 people, all you'd be doing is feeding another 300 gold over if you try and defend Bin at this point.
So I'm gonna maybe get that top wave. No, we'll send him into mid. They're not funneling everything they can into him, but he does have that BF sword, so getting ever closer to that infinity edge.
Should be having it for Dragon.
Yeah, meanwhile on the bottom side, we're just getting a little bit of vision down. Baron has been a little lonely this game, though, despite the fact that we're 25 minutes in.
I think it's an area that both of these teams are so kind of hyper-focused on looking for picks at this point that Baron is just going to sit there ignored until 2 people die vaguely on that half of the map, and then the entire game is going to get flipped for it. That is currently my expectation for Baron's involvement in the League of Legends game. Alternately, if BLG get a good bit of vision control on the areas where Seraphine, where Vi will be lurking for picks, you could potentially just say, go have the dragon, because it's soul point, so you don't want us to have it, but we're going to rush Baron. That is something that BLG will have the agency to force, since they do have the benefit of that soul point in just 3 minutes' time.
Good call out, Melvin, because Knight finished that Rabadon's death cap and kept the Seeker's arm guard in the back pocket. That's going to be huge for this next fight. He has slowed down considerably since the time that he was, I believe he was 10-0 and 3. Thought for a minute he might set a new split 2 kill record, but we may still be a little ways away from that. Bin and Hoya are going to go at it, but Hoya is going to go into mini. Guwon took a bit of a bad route and is now going to look back in for Bin here while the Baron is being done. Good flash from Bin. They get on top of him, and they will be able to take him out. But the problem is, this Baron is being done.
Does Hoya have time to base and TP over there? It looks like that's not the call. NIP are just saying, fine, have the Baron. I would say we'll take ... but honestly, killing Bin seems like the only reward they're going to get for this. Like, I feel like with 3 people on the map, Hoya could have just based and TP'd over and made this a bit sweaty for BLG, but it's just going to be a bit of extra gold. I mean, the teleport summoner out of Night, that's something, but this does overlap into Dragon.
They did get mid-tier 1, so it is, you know, interesting to note here. They also did get Shun's flash in that play, so that is very important. We know that the flash flag and drag can be very difficult to deal with, especially for these immobile carries that we talked about, like the Ashe and the Seraphine. As Temper Fade is going to land here. This could be problematic for Hoya as Knight is here and blows him up. That is huge.
Having neither the Sterax nor the flash, both of them used in that engagement on Bin just a few minutes ago, this will give BLG the opening to go for a bot lane tier 2. And again, it looks like NIP just don't care, for lack of a better term. They're just saying have it, and we're going to go get pushed in 2 other lanes. I mean, when you're down a member, it makes sense that you don't want to take a fair fight here, but I want to see a bit more out of NIP. You still have all these pick tools, and they seem really indecisive right now. They're starting to recall, but it's a bit late. They're going to be back just in time for their tower to be all but dead. I don't know. It feels like BLG have definitely caught him.
Ashol lands on the Knight. He does get cleansed. Viper not able to land the root here. Now the curtain call is going to come down. They're going to look to target out Zhuo. Second shot lands. Guwon will block the rest. The fourth shot will hit Assum, but not really do a whole lot. It's a 4v4 for the moment. Hoya is going to join. It looks like the siege may be discontinued here by BLG. 40 seconds until this dragon.
The thing is, while the Tempered Fate wasn't available at that point, there is still the stopwatch.
Hoya.
Ooh, hold on.
Jumping over, looking for Viper on and Shunner here. This is a nice look from Hoya. Is he able to finish him off? No, not quite. He goes Mega, but he's the only one there. Over the wall is Guwon, right on top of Viper, but he's still alive. Will finally fall.
Oh, Guwon's living!
Knight goes golden. Teleport's coming in. This is the time that Assum needs to fire away on these guys. Bin's in trouble too. The Maiden trying to block, but it'll get charmed. It'll go down. It is a big fight win for NIP, started up by the top laner Hoya.
Are they looking for an end angle here? They're not walking to the dragon. I mean, they're going to get one tower, but you could have done that with just two people.
You have a
they
lot of
really
time.
are going to go
seconds.
for it.
Now 15 seconds until Ana's up. Shun can't do anything. Jarvan is not good in these situations, and you do have Ashe. It looks like after this, they may discontinue as Zhuo is starting to walk away. This inhibitor is going to go down, and IP are continuing. Ana's up in 2 seconds, but the Ashe ult goes wide. Ana's now up. Viper's up in 10 seconds. Knight in 15. And IP, they don't want to give this up yet.
Okay.
Shun gets interrupted. His GA is down. The teleport's coming in. They're looking to end the game right now. Viper's up. Knight's in 5 seconds. Turret 1 is down. Charm is there. Viper's dead. Viper's dead.
What?
Still alive. Here comes Knight. The other turret falls between worlds. Blows up an IP. He's gone gold.
It's Hoya
versus the world. Bin respawns. Hoya will fall to the bite of BLG. Nexus at half HP. And NIP will stumble at the finish.
That was such an incredible call to go for, but it comes back to bite them. BLG defend ever so narrowly. They're going to be rewarded with the Hextech Soul. It's going to make it so difficult for NIP to get even close to that scenario again. Oh my god, we need to see the replay. Good lord. Okay, Hoya, he starts this off. He just right-clicks Viper down like the rest of his team is on the other side. Nappy sees Viper hitting a ward, and that's Jin's hard counter as the control ward. Guwon sees what's happening with his top laner, full commits in, and this is just NIP with an exquisite flash charm from Care to lock Knight down and stop him DPSing the rest of this fight. Is the only reason that Guwon is alive and that this play is even plausible. And at the end of it, it's kind of just this weird situation that if we take a look at how the end quote was executed, they did tear through Viper immediately, but Zhuo getting knocked down by the tower, and then this from Knight is what sealed the deal and denied the end of the game.
Oh my goodness, Melvin, this was so damn close. And now NIP are faced with a big problem. BLG, they have Hextech Soul. I don't know how you're going to be able to take a straight up fight. They're going to have to get really creative in trying to end this game because this is an exposed Nexus. You can go and try to make a play. There's a pink ward there, so there's no teleport plays to be had. But
okay,
I don't know if you can take a straight up fight anymore.
I mean, the thing is, with the Baron up in 1 minute and 10 seconds, it is always the angle for Hoya to just go down bot lane. And to be honest, I think I would prefer it if we saw a bit of that 2019 G2 magic and had both solo laners walk bot with Care just in Fog of War, and then they just go and try and one-shot whoever shows up and put BLG into an impossible situation. Because with the Baron spawning soon, mid-pro is important, but a bit whatever when you already have the super minions. It's getting what you can with that opportunity, like this bot lane tier 2, really breaking open the map, making it so BLG have to play respectfully.
Looking for Knight, not able to find him, as Knight has 15 kills, which is a split 2 record. Looking for the year record for the LPL, as that was 19 set by Elk on that Kaisa. So
it's doable.
If Knight gets a pentakill in the last fight, or if we have a couple of fights left, he can certainly get to 20 or even more. But I have a feeling that we are getting to the point of the game where this one's going to be over soon, Melvin. The Baron is up now. We have 4 more minutes till a date with Destiny, that Elder Dragon as well, and it looks like NIP have started it up. The pings are on it.
It is Shun steal against the world. He is the only smite.
Full charm is there. Baron pulls them in. 2,000 HP, secured by Guwon. Shun got caught. He's dead. It's a 5v4.
Hoya nearly mega.
We're looking for the ultimate down onto multiple members. Bin is dead. Knight has a lot of health left. Has a lot of damage he can put out.
It's all awesome.
Will walk him down. Viper is low, and he will fall to the might of Guwon. NIP win the fight. It's only on, and there's no Nexus turrets left. Teleport coming into the mid lane. Odd's gonna try to get over the wall. He'll flash over the wall. The Nexus turrets have finally respawned, Melvin. But guess what? It's 25 seconds until the BLG jungler's up. A crucial mistake in the Baron pit. Shun went for the steal, and he might have just lost the game for his team. The one turret is golden, but will fall. NIP will get a game 1 victory over BLG.
47 kills in just about 35 minutes. The kind of chaos we thought could happen, but for a moment, not even a moment, for quite a long time, it looked like BLG had snuffed out the magic that we thought NIP was coming into today with. But no, they proved themselves resilient and able to find those angles with what should have been a pretty straightforward comp. Excellent execution to drag themselves back into it, and holy moly, what a crazy set of events to nearly end the game.
It was a big play coming out from Hoya. That started everything. That was the domino that fell, Melvin. You're able to go and find Viper. I thought it was an aggressive look, and I thought it was maybe a situation where he'd get him low and BLG would be able to walk out, but NIP were just able to catch them, just able to grab them by the cape
so narrow,
and pull them back. And that's how this game went all upside down for BLG. What a crazy, crazy game. Props to NIP for putting things together. I might be casting from the airport at this point. I might have to go. You might hear me in the Rapid Rover or the Uber while on the way to the airport, trying to call the game, as NIP have shocked BLG here in game 1.
I think you'll be alright, because it's looking like a quick 2-0 for NIP right now. That's all I'm saying. Like, at that point, I did not know whether NIP had that dog in them, and clearly they most definitely do, to drag themselves out of that game state against BLG of all teams. It's like, it's so impressive. Like, it's so impressive from this team, and it's just exactly what I wanted to see, the proof of concept, because it wasn't even from just raw bot lane aggression that dragged them back into the game. That was the rest of the team coming together and using those arrows for just facilitating at the end of the day. Assum did a ton of damage in those late game fights when he was involved, but it wasn't him forcing the ticket. It wasn't him right-clicking down mid on Yanara and saying, enemy ADC, you die now. It was the rest of the team finding those moments where BLG were just playing overconfident. Knight several times got caught out, once by an arrow when he was just going for a pick onto Zhuo, and I don't know, the punishes are there. Like, this is something that BLG need to give some serious respect going into Draft 2.
Melvin, it's another situation where no bin, no win. I mean, he wasn't able to do anything this game. Knight had this game in his hands. He was 10-0-3 at, I think, 18 minutes or something like that. When you are that fed, you have to win the game. You have to seal the deal. I don't care if it's solo queue. I don't care if it's competitive. You have to win those games. And him not being able to push BLG off the finish line, I'm not going to lie, I think it's very concerning.
100%. Like, the fact that this game went as long as it did was one thing. But to a point, I agree that Jarvan should just be able to EQR onto the back line, and then Aurora just one-shots them. Like, what do you do at that point?
How can play?
There should be no angle to actually get away with it. As we take a look at the damage, yeah, Knight did a lot of damage. It just wasn't enough in the end. And look at that gold graph. That is an LPL signature classic. What on earth are we looking at?
Classico, baby. We love it. Listen, Knight, empty stats for Knight, honestly. 40 to 39k damage. How many kills? 15 kills?
100% KP.
One loss.
100% KP.
One loss, bro. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's disturbing. And maybe it goes to show that, like, not having another champion that can kind of shoulder that burden, you know, because you have the Jhin, who isn't able to do that. Bin, I think, was 0-7-5, it said. I mean, it was a one-man show. I still think that you have to get the job done. But maybe, just maybe, this Jhin champion in certain compositions is not that great. And it needs to be studied. The fall off of this champion needs to be studied.
We did call it in the draft that when it got to the second rotation, BLG had 0 magic damage, and they had a Jhin as an ADC, which is kind of like, okay, you don't have enough physical damage at that point to be consistently damaging through a team, and then you pick Aurora as the AP carry, which is fine, but you are very burst reliant, and that means if you don't get the burst down to get those one-shots off and use the Jhin to, you know, get those picks, NIP just win a long engagement, and that was kind of what we're going to see a bit more of in the replays. If the play is done in a second, it's BLG favored. If the play goes on for 10, 20, 30 seconds, then NIP just kind of walk away with it.
That was a really nice encore that drug this fight out just a little too long here.
Knight wishes he had combo breaker.
Yeah, this isn't even... I hate combo breaker, bro. This isn't even a great fight, right? It went 2 for 2, but this right here was the catalyst that turned the game in NIP's favor. This is a big boy play out of Hoya that you just have to hope that the rest of your team can get it done. Knight was tagged by his own ultimate, and that's what happened. He got tagged by On's ultimate because On wasn't able to stop Guwon, and that's what ruined the fight for BLG. It's so crazy that it's just inches that ruined this game.
Get yourself some jungle top synergy like that, by the way. You see your top laner running in, ending up in a Jarvan cage against 4 people. And what does Guwon do? He flash ultimates the ADC. Goddamn right with it. You get that Jhin off of my screen. And the fact that BLG were able to hold on at this point, the game is so difficult, but losing the smite is just... it's cooked because Shun dies immediately after. Honestly, I don't know what exactly BLG could have done to play the Baron contest part better, but it makes me think that there must have been an angle. When you have a Jhin, when you have a Bard, there has to have been something, like between an Aurora, like bit of damage from over the wall. It does make me think that, in retrospect, BLG are going to be asking a lot of questions of, could we have salvaged that? Was there an angle? Like, was it doable?
I don't think it's the steal. I think you have to just go in as the team and go, hey, we're going to fight you on this Baron. Because if NIP get the Baron and you have no Nexus turrets, like, you are going to lose. Like, I understand going for the steal there, but I think forcing a fight as opposed to just going for the steal and instantly dying would have been better served for BLG. Let's talk MVP, Melvin. Ooh. I think I'm giving it to Assum because he just dumped out so much damage in some of these late game fights. Play of the game goes to Hoya, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a good distinction. I'm happy with that. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I think that Assum definitely wasn't the weak point at any point in this game. And even when he was the one getting jumped on by BLG, it was usually in a situation where the rest of the team fought without him. And then as the ADC, you're in this awkward spot of, do I just keep myself alive and maintain KDA? Or do I right-click forward and try and equalize at least 1 kill? And as expected from Assum, it was typically the second option.
Balanced it very well. His 4th player of the game here in this season. And NIP with a 1-0 lead over BLG. We'll see if they're going to be able to close it out during this break. I'm going to go try to find my passport, Melvin. We'll see you on the other side.